on the cusp. Still on the cusp. And still as off the cuff as ever. I'm still out here, friends. The winds are blowing. It's 12:13 a.m. I'm just a-pacing down a Tennessee highway. Rolling down the backwoods. Tennessee highway. One arm on the wheel. Oh, dang it, there's a car coming. That means... Oh, no, he's going the other way. All right, the podcast can go on. I got that late night energy. I got that. Ate a piece of toast at 11:40. Buttered up. Just swigged down a big old sparkle water. That you don't do that before bed unless you want to pee. So guess what? I'm out walking it off. That's right, I'm walking. Walking after midnight. Walk, 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 walk. Remember that song? Patsy Cline. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Or friend, if maybe just one person listen. I don't have any listenership anymore because I haven't put out an episode in 6 months. So I'm back, and I'll just tell you right now, I ain't no better off I was. I ain't no better off than I was 6 months ago. I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm on the cusp of. I'm still just kind of shooting from the hip, off the cuff as the title of the show. I need to quit saying that. I mean, it's getting a little redundant at this point. I'm walking by a field right now in Sumner County, and it just smells so good, y'all. That fresh cut hay. It's the first cut. And man, it smells good. There's just big rolls of it out there. And you know, it's tough on the cows around here when you got them big rolls of hay. I mean, they can't get a square meal. Nowhere. But yeah, that was good, wasn't it? All right, we're not 2.5 minutes in, and I feel like I'm on fire. I've been missing this microphone, baby. Not really. I have not wanted to do this. I've actually started 10 episodes in 6 months, and I canned all of them. Because at some point, what started off as a kind of a fun thing, a challenge for my buddy, why don't you tell some of those funny stories and tell your journey a little bit? Because we were doing a lot, man. I was talking in my phone, I was in New York, in Montana, in all these places. Then I was on the Cash Tour, and I was doing it weekly then. And then, you know, I'm just rambling about my thoughts way too much. And now here I am, friends. I did that mountain mission. So I may as well update you. Of course, Hurricane Helene sort of changed my life for a few months anyway. Came in there late September last year, and October I sang at I say we out of habit, but I was hoping Amy would sing, but she didn't sing on this one. She says, I don't really know the harmony to that song. They called it a 500-year flood. I was like, it's right there. Just sing. They called it a 500-year flood. Come on, Amy. And she's like, I don't know. It's in a weird spot in my voice. And I don't know. She just wiggles her way right out of it. And the funniest thing about Amy is she doesn't care about the spotlight or nothing. But I joked with her. Like, yeah, just because you won't be in the spotlight. I was like, why don't you sing it? And I'll sing harmony to you. I'm like, you've got a better voice anyway. We work way better when she sings lead and I sing harmony. Almost any song I write sounds better with her singing it. But she argues with that. She says, some songs sound like you wrote them for you or Johnny Cash or something. And she's like, so they need to stay in that world, which is her way of kind of like Carrie Underwood, if you tried to pitch her a song like that. And she was like, no, thanks. That's Amy. She's doing, no, thanks for trying to pitch me a song, but I'm not interested in that one. But she's too nice to say it that way. So she didn't sing with me, but she was there. when I sang that song last October at the prayer vigil in Asheville, North Carolina. And I told the story on here. We drove out of there that night, and I just had a very strong sense and a strong feeling that I wanted to come back and help with what was going on in these mountains. I was seeing all that stuff, all the devastation. So many people have forgotten about it now, but it's still there. I mean, it's still an absolute mess. So much of it. But anyhow, and it all, if you want to hear what happened, basically I ended up in South Texas doing some Christmas shows that were previously booked. And a couple of those turned into benefits. I didn't even know they were benefits. And before you know it, I'm on my way home from Texas with over $6,000 of money for Hurricane Helene victims and no idea what I was going to do with it. And I thought, well, I'll just give it to, not the Red Cross, but like, Franklin Graham's Samaritan Purse or something like that. Someone I know is doing good work. But there's a voice inside me, I think it was the Holy Spirit saying, hey, buddy, you keep feeling led to come down here and help people. You've got a pile of money to come help them with. You've got a truck that's paid for, and the gas is paid for, and you've got a winter with no job. And that's kind of a problem. Yeah, and that was my argument back to the voice, the little Holy Spirit or the little angel on my shoulder. Yeah, I got a winter coming with no job. You're darn right. We made our own money too in Texas. So we come out of that pretty good down in Texas. But it's going to be gone about January 3rd. So what am I going to do? And I was like, okay, there's a few restaurants that I'm going to go put in an application, try to be a server. Or there's this, there's that. I was going through my mind like Amazon. I could deliver Amazon again. I used to do that. I thought all this last year, and I ended up on the cash tour. And the year before, it was something else. There's always something that comes along that saves the day. So this time, there ain't nothing coming along to save the day, but there's that voice. Go to the mountains, help people. Well, I don't know. So ended up talking to the guy that owned the Music Ranch box truck, and I asked him if he thought I should take that truck and help people. And he said, I think you should, absolutely. And I said, well, the problem is I need a job. Do you think it's worth it for you to pay me to do this as a job? And I'll take a very minimal, small paycheck. And he absolutely lit up. He thought it was great. And I have never asked that man for anything. He's done a lot for us. Hold on. All right, I took off running. There was a car coming. This road is like a speed demon highway. Not really. It's a 2-lane country road, but it's straight. And you know what that means to a guy driving an old Grand Prix at 12:30 in the morning. He's going to hit that gas, man. And it's dark out, so I just jumped into a cornfield real quick. But it wasn't really in the cornfield. It was just a driveway next to it. I ain't getting no chiggers. I'll tell you that right now. I spray down. RFK can kiss it. That Trump and all that bunch, they're going to try to solve all these chemicals, but I still spray that DEET all over me. Up and down and all around. That's true. All right, so back to the topic. Well, there I went. And that man approved me doing that for 3 months. He kept telling me, hey, keep doing it. And I ended up in some crazy stuff. And I could write a book about the stuff I ended up in. And I'm talking about mountains and people broke. And I ended up delivering 10 campers to people that were donated. And I was going all the way up to the Great Lakes to pick up campers that people were donating, and up there in Pennsylvania. And I was delivering them one by one, these old crappy campers that people would donate, and this guy would fix them up. And then I started working with him, met him on Facebook, and just the hands and the feet of the Lord, man, just people just jumping in and helping. And I was the only one who was able to do it as a job. The rest of these people, man, they were donating their time. And I don't put myself on the same level as them. But in the meantime, I came home every weekend, and I never missed one of my kids' games. And I was still playing gigs sometimes when I would come home. And Amy and I we booked some free shows in the mountain because, hey, you know, this is part of the mountain mission. We're going to try to raise some money to help people. Man, we booked a show at Burnsville, North Carolina. We advertised it, got on the radio with it. And that day it went from 58 degrees down to 24 degrees by the time the show was going to start. And I hope that that's the reason. I'd like to think that was the reason that 3 people came to the show. 3. But when you're doing a free show to help people in a nice place that I paid out of my pocket to rent, and 3 people show up, and it ain't the Super Bowl. I mean, I picked the I don't remember which Sunday it was. I thought I did everything right on the scheduling, on the promotion. You start rethinking your life a bit. Because you know good and well if Oliver Anthony shows up, it's about to get packed in there. If Keith Urban shows up, you know, I mean, obviously, there's an obvious difference there. We don't think we're that, but we're like, are we this? But you know what? We don't walk out and just go, well, I guess we'll just call the show. Or we don't walk out and go, well, I guess it's just us here today. You know, I don't even acknowledge it. I mean, it's sunglasses on, it's lights on, it's rock and roll, baby. I sing Great Balls of Fire like I ain't never played it before on my guitar, and I've done learned how to play the piano licks on my guitar. I'm right proud of it. And man, I'm up there playing it, and Amy's singing harmony with me, and then she sings her songs, and I thought we could go down and just play like a little acoustic show sitting on chairs with these folks, and I was like, that is fun, that's cool, but you know what, man? They came, and they deserve a show, and I'm not going to go down there and take my jacket off and act like we're sitting around a campfire, although they might like that. I look at it like, if I show up to watch the NBA players play, not that I'm comparing myself to professional NBA players, but if I show up and there's hardly nobody there and they're just like, well, why don't we take it over here to the little practice court and we'll just shoot around a little bit. Now they're not even going to do a real game. The refs can go home early. I'll just call it. Ain't that many people here. But these people have an experience like they ain't never had. They'll see us out here in our warm-ups. I didn't come for that. I came for the lights out. You do the starting lineup just like you were going to. And if nobody's clapping, and that's why I always respected what they did during COVID. Pro basketball, they're like, well, we're going to go to empty arenas and play still. NFL, they did it. I mean, I thought it was stupid. Absolutely stupid. But I still respected that the crew and the players are like, all right, we're going to keep doing this thing. Even if nobody comes, we'll be fired up. I mean, the NBA took a lot of crap that year. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'll give them a positive remark. So, all right, I'm doing that show and I'm like, dude, like, what is it? What has my life come to? I'm standing here. I've been looking forward to this show for 2 months. I couldn't wait for this because I've been in the mountains like working, and I had told everybody in the mountains. But one thing I started to realize, everybody's broke. Nobody's got nothing. And on top of that, the town was just hit a few months ago, and it's winter and there's freaking ice coming in, and it just was what it was. So can't overreact. But we did a few more shows like that, and honestly, I felt like I had lost my fastball, just to be honest with you. And I do think I had developed a fastball. At one point, up until last year, I think I had done something like 450 shows in a 2-year span. Or maybe a year and a half. It was something like that. It was crazy. I did a lot of doubles on days. I had a lot of 8-hour bar days. I had those 70-some shows on the Cash Tour, bunched in with a bunch of leading worship and a bunch of Saturday night gigs and Sunday morning worship, and run out of the church and jump in the car. Just slept 3 hours in the car, drive down to Broadway, run into Whiskey Road, plug in, 12:30 to 4:30, no breaks. You got a bunch of people looking at you, and you better be able to hold them. And I'm not Morgan Wallen. Y'all know that. At that point, I'm almost 40-year-old dude sitting there going, yeah, I got your Toby Keith swinging right here. I got your Alan Jackson. And during the middle of the day, you can make that work. You get up there at about midnight, and then people start going, what's this guy doing? Man, I want to hear some Morgan Wallen. And I guess I can do one of his, but I don't do it justice. I try not to do anything that I don't do justice. They never asked Isaiah Thomas to play center, I don't think. He wouldn't have been doing that. He was a point guard. So I'm more of a classic retro kind of guy. I stay in my lane best I can. And that's served me well. But it ain't no more is what I was thinking. I mean, here it was in the late winter, and this thing I've been looking forward to just ain't popping. And I'm up here and I'm kind of fumbling around, and I had been out of practice, really. It ain't like riding a bike. You think it is, but you get up there, it's like, yes, my instincts, I can connect with people, but man, this is why I didn't want to do a podcast. You see what I've done? I've spent 10 minutes talking about, I pulled over and parked on this stupid show in this topic. And I hadn't even thought about it for months. But I'm an audio processor. Audible. I'm an audible processor. I can't say words right. So I process out loud. And once I start going down a thought like that, it makes me relive it and think about what it meant. And how did I feel when I did all this? So stupid. I need a therapist, not a podcast. I'm about to walk by something that sounds like it's farting a lot, but it's really a bunch of bullfrogs over there in this wooded area. You'll probably hear them in a minute. So, what kind of show is this? So I come home. I called it, Mountain Mission was done. Hey, I ain't even telling y'all about the lady who climbed out of a shed and needed a camper. And we got her a camper, and then she had to escape her abusive boyfriend after he had bruised her ribs and broken her arms and everything. And I was the only person she was communicating with that could get her out of it. And what I had to do to get her out of this situation, and the people that showed up, and the money from Texas that kept flowing my way. I mean, I ended up with, I don't know how many thousands of dollars that people kept donating for me to put this lady up in a hotel for weeks. And just the entire process was nuts. And she was so sweet and kind, and I mean, genuinely in need of help and patient, but yet totally a victim. And you talk about rethinking your life. Like, hey man, I'm bummed about a show. She ain't got nowhere to live. She ain't got nowhere to go. She got no money. I remember, I took this lady to get a pizza, a little personal pizza at Blaze Pizza. The day we were moving her from one place to the next. I say we, it was just me. She was like so happy to have some pizza. I was like, man, I think I like this pizza. I mean, I was just amazed. Like, man, she's got to be loving it. And it's the people in Texas, man. The same ones at the Christmas tour that funded everything. They funded that too. But that was near the end. I was like, okay, I've got to get home. I've got my family, all this stuff. So at the end of March, I wound it down. We made one more trip back in April. We played for Easter at a church where I'd made some friends. And then we did a little concert at one of the, what do we call basically refugee camps. It's not really refugees, but they're the survivors. They don't like being called victims. They're survivors of Hurricane Helene. And honestly, I'm going to tell y'all, it was, a lot of people were just survivors in general. Like, it wasn't like, there wasn't always someone with a great hurricane story to tell you. A lot of them, they were homeless before, and they were homeless after. The only difference was a hurricane came through. They didn't have nothing to lose, but now they still had nowhere to go, and it just happened to be a lot more people who cared in the area now. So that was a lot of it too. And I ain't mad about that. The Lord works in mysterious ways. So, all right. Now I'm back in Nashville. It's April. Now what? I hadn't booked nothing hardly at all for the summer. I mean, we had a few things. Actually, next week we do. But as far as me and Amy, I'm just like, ever since the Cash tour, man. The me and Amy thing too, when you listen and you look back at what we were doing, a lot of it is just because we were able to travel so affordably with the Music Ranch deal, and still are. I could keep replicating that. I could keep taking us to Florida and over here and over there to play these bars. And you can make $400 or $500 in a day or something. And you can do that throughout a week or two, and then throw in a rodeo and make a couple grand. And then you go, well, looky there, we did good. But that's not sustainable to keep doing that, especially when someone else is covering the fuel. You got to build something. And if we're not building anything, I'm to the point in my life where I'm like, what am I building? If the answer is nothing, or just repeating the same things, no, it's okay. Like, it's just too late in life for me to learn all this. But it's better late than never, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, here I am. I'm like, I'm not really fired up to go do all the same stuff. So I'm not really trying to do the same old pattern. We get the same results. But I don't know where to go. So what we did was we thought, let's go to the studio. Because one thing we have is a pile of really great songs. Because I've been writing like crazy. And that's the positive twist on this. There's a publishing company, and they've been bringing me in, letting me write with their artists. The publisher likes me. He's met me for coffee. He says he believes in me. He says he would love for me to keep coming, and he will make appointments between me and his artists, and kind of get me writing down there more, and just go from there. And I don't know where it leads. If it led to a staff writing deal, that would be super cool. But I don't think it's really, I don't think that's a money thing. I think it's an honor thing, and I'm honored. Believe me, I would do it, but I still got to make money. I can't just write songs all the time and be available for that when I gotta make money. So I've been squeezing in co-writes between work. And when I got home, this place called Bar Lines, I'm like, oh, it's just a bar gig. Well, that guy I found favor in the guy who books there. And at this point, I'm playing there 10, 12 times a month. And the pay is great for a downtown gig. And it's my kind of place because it's a restaurant, not just a bar. It's a restaurant with good food, all ages. It's a block and a half off of Broadway. It's right next to the Country Music Hall of Fame. I mean, it's literally in the same building. And the Omnia Hotel, it's a property of the Omni. So everything's real upscale, really nice. When I park, it's like free valet parking every time. I mean, it could be a rainstorm. I don't get a drop of water on me. Everyone else is parking in a garage, paying $20, sludging through the rainstorm, hauling all their crap, trying to get down there to Broadway to play. I pull in valet, toss them my keys. I really don't toss them the keys, but I need to do that at least once. I know the guy now. I think he might get a kick. I'd have to tip him twice, though, if I'm going to do something that rude. But walk right in there, get me a free coffee at 8 o'clock at night, and we start playing. So me and Luke play there, but I've been playing there by myself now. They've been giving me their opening shift multiple times a week. And it's all these corporate people. And I sit there with my shades on, man, and a big old trucker's hat. And I play Waylon and Hank, and I enjoy the heck out of it, man. I'm playing Johnny Cash. I play whatever I want for 3 hours. And I make twice as much money as I make at Joyride half the time. And that brings me to Joyride. Joyride is just dying down. Like, it ain't, I might get 1 or 2 shifts a week. And it's really my fault because I'm available for shifts on weird days, like a Thursday. And they can't put me on, they were like, well, we don't have enough tours that day. Well, it's not that. They have way more tour guides than they used to have. Because they're all a bunch of independent contractors. So what's happening is they've got 20 guys that are ready to go at any time to do 17 tours. So no matter how long I've been there, you know, he's got to take care of all these guys and spread out the work. So if I'm not available on a weekend because of gigs, then he's not giving me much weekday work because everyone's having to work. So that's their only job. I got multiple sources of income. So the Joyride thing is just sort of like there. Every now and then I have a really good day, but I go do it and I'm like, man, I'm sort of hanging on right now, but it is week to week. And so I'm grabbing everything. I mean, the other day, I woke up at 4 a.m. and then I finished the gig at 2 a.m. Then later that night, after working and doing the gig, and then I got home at 3:30 a.m. I got out of the shower. It was 4 a.m. And I was like, it's 24 hours. And there was a big amount of time between my job and the gig. But I couldn't go home. But that's just what you have to do. You got to pack it in and do it when you can do it. And when you go to church, you got to leave church and go play the gig. At least I get to go to church. But I'm not complaining. So what I'm saying is, what am I just going to keep doing this? I could. I might. Based on my history, I probably will. But there was a little moment of something that happened. I was doing a rare Monday. Maybe it was Memorial Day. I don't know. Whatever. It was a Monday. I had an Irish group on the golf cart, and we were having a great time. I was showing them all this stuff. And they expressed interest in going to Memphis. And they said, yeah, we're wanting to go, but, you know, I can't do their accent, but they couldn't find a way down there or something. And I was just like, well, I used to do that. I can still do that. I can take you to Memphis. They were like, when? I said, I don't know. When do you want to go? They were like, Friday. I said, well, I'll do it Friday. I'll hold that day. And I told them, I was like, look, you just pay me $500 and I'll drive you there. And I'll take you. And now, this is not willy-nilly. I know to the minute. I mean, I'm telling you, I know to the minute what time we're going to be at Graceland. I know what gas truck stops we're stopping at. I know the clean bathrooms between here and Memphis. I know the parking spot I'm going to get in at Graceland. I know exactly where we're going as soon as they let out. I done figured out which Sun Records tour is the best one to go to in order for us to get down to the Peabody Hotel and see the Ducks March. I've got all this figured out. So this is not, I ain't winging nothing. This ain't off the cuff. This is for real. I got a real tour. I'm a real tour guide telling them this. But they don't know that, and I'm not trying to convince them. I'm just throwing it out there kind of, casually. But inside, I'm like, man, I really hope they do this. And I underpriced it too. I shouldn't have, but I was like, that's fine. Well, they said they'd let me know. Well, okay. Well, so they're not going to do it. Wednesday, they called me. We want to do it. Oh, okay. Dang, I need a car. Well, my wife has a real nice 2017 Corolla. I'm paying $400 a month on that dang bad boy. Not since 2017. I didn't buy it new. We bought it a couple years ago. So it's leather seats. It's got the sunroof, but it's got crayons all over the floor and chicken nugget and French fry crumbs everywhere. So, man, I took that thing Thursday and I cleaned the piss out of it. And I saw a crack in the windshield and I'm like, dadgummit, it's such a bad crack. And that's my fault. I was driving one day last summer and I come up on a bunch of them turkey vultures out here in the country. And I hate those things. I mean, I don't hate them really, but I guess for some reason, sometimes I hate them. They have a right to live and they do great work. But every now and then I just see them. I'm like, man, look at those guys. And I just nailed the gas because the kids were with me and I thought they'll get a kick out of this. I'm going to drive through these turkey vultures like a bat out of hell, So I just nailed the gas, took off down through there, coming right at them turkey vultures. And they always move. And I'm always amazed at that. How do they always get out of the way? Until this time. One big old turkey vulture, I nailed him with the windshield and he busted the snot out of it. I mean, cracks everywhere, spider cracks all on Amy's side of the windshield. Amy's sitting there. She has no idea why I sped up to 68 miles an hour on a little country road and slammed these birds. And she's like, Amy don't get pissed very often, man. I'm telling you, she was pissed at me. And I was just dying laughing because I was like, man, that was great. I mean, just nailed that dude. I was like, now they got something else to eat. My kids are screaming. They're back there, spilt their chocolate milk. So this is the car I'm going to take to freaking Memphis? What am I thinking? Once I realized I'm an idiot. I should have overpriced it a little bit more so I could rent a car. And I was like, Amy, I'm going to have to rent a car. This is stupid. I'm going to lose all my money. I'm just going to rent a car. Let's just do it. If you ain't going to do it right, don't do it at all, 3 people in the audience, give them a show. All right? 2 people, they booked a VIP Memphis trip with me. They don't even know it's VIP. I call it VIP. And here I'm showing up with a broke windshield and a daggum Corolla with French fries on the floorboard. No, sir. So finally, I was like, well, I'm just going to clean it. And while I'm cleaning it, I'm going to see if I can find a rental somewhere. But in the meantime, I ain't wasting time. I'm going to clean the car because it needs it anyway. So I get to work on that car. And I'm good at that because I used to clean cars. I used to be a detailer back in the day. So any kind of crap work I'm pretty familiar with in my life. So I'm doing it. And I called this Mexican. Well, it's the way it ended up. I called this windshield replacement place. And this guy's like, hello. I'm like, hey, man. How much to replace the windshield in the 2017 Corolla, blah, blah, blah. He's like, $300 or whatever. That sounded like a Chinese guy, but whatever. He's like, $300, man. I'm like, when can you do it? He said, now. I was like, I was driving around already. And I just went straight over there to this place, man. And these dudes, these Mexicans were sitting They were sitting on freaking stools, like eating sandwiches in a garage. I pulled up and they didn't look nervous about nothing. All this ice stuff, these guys ain't nervous. Either they're just living right or they don't care. I'm happy either way. And they come running out and they took that windshield out in 5 minutes and slapped that other one in. And I gave the guy money. And there went my money for tomorrow. But you know what? We got a new windshield. And Amy's been wanting one. And I owe her one. And the other thing is, I think I'm on to something with these Memphis trips. This is the second one I've done since last fall. I did one for another group. But I did like 80 of them back in the day working for a company. So I learned it. But the company went out of business. And then I know another lady who carries it on. And there's people who do it. And I'm like, well, I ain't no business. I got no business doing this. They're all way more committed to that business than I am. So I can't halfway do it and do justice and do well with it. There's no sense in that. Well, the tour went amazing. They tipped well. Everything went great. I ain't going to tell you the whole tour. It'd be stupid to sit here and, well, I took them here and I took them there. And then I stood up here and I did this and I played that and I pulled the guitar out and I did all that stuff. But man, I'm not forcing none of it. I'm vibing with these people. If they don't want to talk, I ain't talking. I know how to roll with these people. And it went well. And golly, man, I had the best day. I love going through all that stuff. I love Sun Records. I love Graceland. It never gets old to me. Never. I sit there in a parking lot and I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm hanging out at Elvis's house. I used to freaking just watch his VHS videos and be like, man, that dude's so cool, man. Look at that Graceland, man. Like, you see the documentary. Wonder what it's like to go there. Dude, I can walk in right now to the ticket place and say, hey, I brought a group down here. Y'all mind if I walk around a bit? And they'll just let me go anywhere I want. Not in the house, but anywhere else. But they'd let me go in the house too if I wanted to, but I'd have to take a tour. I couldn't just go walking around. But that's my point. I feel like, man, I've got the people. I went in Sun Studio. I told you I wasn't going to tell you everything. I'm doing it anyway. I went in Sun Studio. And I hadn't been in there except one time in 4 years. And that one time was last fall. So here I come. I walk in there. The dude at the counter's like, how's it going, Adam? I'm like, what? I recorded there over 10 years ago. He don't know that. But it's just like, I'm like, dude, am I back home or what? This guy, and he's like hooking us up. He's like, yeah, you can go on the tour if you want, like for free. I've seen it. But just, man, that made me feel good. So now I'm in the car. I'm rolling over here to Cookout. Have you ever gone in Cookout in Memphis? It's really funny because you got all these all right, let's be real. Memphis is like 88% black. So it's like you got a real, as Charles Barkley says down there about San Antonio, man, they got some really big old women down there in San Antonio. Man, they got some big women up there in that Cookout working, sitting there on the counter. And, they be talking like this, what up? I come in there, yeah, what up? But you know what's crazy? The music is freaking Hillsong. Pardon me, I don't mean to, Lord forgive me, I don't mean to talk down about your music. But goodness, this is the whitest worship music. Freaking ordering barbecue sauce from over here to Queefa. To Quisha with freaking Carrie Job coming through the speaker. I mean, what is going on? Hey, come on. He want double cheese on that burger. Like, what? That don't vibe with Stephen Curtis Chapman. What are we doing in the Cookout, man? Y'all need to turn on some BB King. What is going on here? Get some Chris Brown up in this mug. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is up? I even told her. She was like, I know, man. They need to be. She like corporate, they be putting that playlist on us. I'm like, yeah, I know you didn't go over and dial up friggin' Joy FM, The Fish, 94.7 The Fish. I know she ain't over there braiding, listening to that. All right, if this don't get me canceled, I hope I get canceled, because that means something is happening. Because nobody knows about me, so it'd be great if I had that much power to lose it. So anyway, so I mean, look, Memphis is great. People talk bad about Memphis all the time. I have no problems in Memphis. I mean, I go down there. I got the key to the city in my pocket. Whether they know it or not, I can do whatever I want in Memphis. If I get shot down there, sorry, this will be played some other time. They'll be like, Adam got a little too arrogant with his Memphis stuff. So that week, behind the scenes, I started my LLC, and I called it VIP Tennessee Excursions. And I offer Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley themed Memphis trips, day trips to Memphis, and I like the 2-day trip that I offer. It is a fantastic trip featuring an overnight stay at the Graceland Guest House Motel, or not motel, hotel. I got to get that M out of there and get that H in there. Hotel, you know where the hoes be telling on you. Oh, Lordy, I'm telling you I'm on fire. Turn me loose on the mic, baby. The hoes be telling you on you down there at different zip codes. What is that song? I don't know. I listened to Randy Travis back then. I don't know about that hoes and zip code songs. But anyhow, friends, I'm a little excited. I'm out here, man, that toast, that butter. I had twice the butter I was supposed to. And it was worth it. Anyhow, got to work these carbs out here. So then people had a blast, and I had a blast, and I said, why ain't I doing this more? I mean, I don't know what's going on with our music. We went and recorded. I didn't finish that story. We did a new session. We got 5 new songs we recorded. I'm all fired up about it. They're getting mixed. We just did vocals in my house the other day. I got my own personal studio going. I've got some great equipment, and it's working with the high-end stuff at the studio where we had it produced. I just burped on the air, friends. Had it produced by Darren Aldridge down there in North Carolina again. And just real excited. Great musicians on it. So that's coming up. One of our songs is Hallelujah Anyway. You might have heard that one. Amy does a great job on it. I wrote that song. Got another one, I'm Gonna Love You Through It. That's a good song too. Anyhow, if you ain't heard them, I don't need to be talking about them. And there's no way for you to hear them yet, but that's what we're working on. And in the meantime, to round out this 45-minute episode, we're back in the saddle. Me and Amy, suddenly it snuck up on us. We're playing the Homestead Festival. You remember Joey and Rory? Country duo, husband and wife. Of course, Joey Feek was her name. She was Joey. And she sadly passed away 10 years ago. It's been 10 years since we lost Joey Feek. Maybe 9 years, but a decade. And since then, we met her husband, Rory Feek. Great songwriter. Very nice man. And their daughter, Indiana. And I would say at this point, we're friends with them. He calls me, and he'll check in, see how we're doing. And he wanted to know if we would play the Homestead Fest again this year. And he sure enough got us on there. So we're playing Friday and Saturday this weekend. And that's a great festival. A lot of big acts are there. We ain't one of them, and we ain't playing near them. We're playing on the little stage. That right over there is where you belong. You play on that little one over there. Stay away from this one here. It's where Pam Tillis and the rest of them gonna play. You don't hang out with them. Yes, sir. We'll go down here. So anyhow, we go down there, and we'll play for whoever the crowd is. And then next week, man, this is big time now. Next week, our hometown, man, they believe in us. Portland, Tennessee, fired up and give us the big Thursday night on Main Street show. They're closing down Main. They're getting the big lights, the big stage, the sound man, the sound crew. Adam, bring the band. We'll pay you. We got the budget. We're going to bring you. What kind of food do you want, Adam? We'll buy whatever you want. You just let us know. We'll have it there. And we're showing up, man, in style. We're going to drive up there 1.8 miles away in that Corolla with that new windshield. Going to roll right up in there. I'm going to step out with my cowboy boots on. And they're the same ones I've had for 5 years, and they look like it, but it don't matter. I'm going to walk right up there with a full band, and we're going to rock the socks out of at least 1,000 people in Portland, Tennessee. At least that's what it was last time. Maybe this time there'll only be 3, which will definitely cause me to do another episode in which I tell you I have give up the music business, but I will still give them 3 people as good a show as the 1,000 I'm hoping is there. And that's next week. And then we go to the full moon picking party. Now that's the big bluegrass show, big bluegrass festival. And we ain't all bluegrass, but we're just grass enough for them people to be fooled, at least the ones who book it. And they bring us down there at the full moon picking party. They ain't fooled. I mean, they know who we are. I tell them every year, I'm like, you sure we're not fully grass? They're like, we love y'all. Because we sing Rolling on the River, Proud Mary, and we sing Chattahoochee. And I guess that ain't grass, but then people like it because the audience, they're not necessarily bluegrass fans. And there's like 3,500 people there, and they go wild. And we close the night out with Wagon Wheel. And I kick that thing into 10th gear. I don't know if there's such thing as 10 gears on anything, maybe. I don't know engines. I know Indians. And they're one and the same. But anyway, them engines, they go in 10th gear, and I start coming after them on my horse. Boy, that's bad. Boy, I'm really tempting fate with this one. And friends, Lord of mercy, where am I going? I feel derailed after that last line. I think my life is over. I think I've got friends who are natives. If they hear this, they might actually be upset at me. But it's okay. I got it. If you're gonna do the crime, do the time, man. You know what I'm saying? Full moon picking party next week. Same band, full band. So we go from Thursday night to Portland, and we go Friday night over there to the full moon picking. And man, we are going to be cutting loose. I mean, they got food trucks a ways off. At least they ain't right next to the stage. I hate playing next to them dang generators blowing all loud. I've done that way too many times in my life. So I like it when food trucks are way over yonder. Good. So we're going to play here for this big old crowd. And then after that, it's probably like literally the next day I'll be like, hey man, y'all need me at Joyride? In my little VIP business, I got my business license. I'm on the cusp of something here. I ain't really that excited, to be honest with you. I was excited about it, and now that I've gone through all of it and I've paid for everything and I opened the business banking account today, and now the reality of it has sunk in that this is just another thing I'm doing on top of a bunch of things. And it's just another one of these things that I'm going to do with only so much energy because I'm doing all these other things. And now I'm asking myself, why did I do this? Am I really going to do this? Do I need to commit to this? But if I commit to this, why am I recording this album? What am I doing with that? Why am I doing so many things? How could I make it if I wasn't doing so many things? Why do I get mad at myself for the life that I chose? Oh, because I chose it. Who else would I be mad at? But then am I really that mad? I'm having a blast. Well, I am until I open the bills in the mail sometimes, but then that's okay too because everyone's got that. And heck, if I went and got a job at AutoZone, I'd be in worse shape. And at this point, that's the best option I would have other than just doing what I'm doing. So I'm just going to keep living on the cusp and off the cuff.